And good day, it's Chris here, Safety Dog. No guest this week. I wanted to go on a bit of a rant because I just don't understand it. I don't get it. And maybe I don't get it because I've never owned a trucking company. Or maybe I don't get it because of the fact that a lot of my clients who reach out to me, thankfully, they reach out to me, are struggling in a couple of areas. And that's what I want to address today is the areas that my typical clients struggle in. And so the topic today is going to be safety scores and insurance, how they relate, and what you can do to get a better picture of this whole thing so that when either the government comes in to do their audit or the insurance company comes in to do their audit, your company is going to look great. So that's our topic today, safety scores and the insurance and how they all relate together. All right, so first up are safety scores. So let's just take a quick thought and look at SMS. I just want you to understand how the CSA or the SMS, if you have a DOT number, of course, you've got a safety score from the federal government, Department of Transportation. And it really affects your insurance. So let's just take a quick look at the SMS and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, and as you can see here, this is a company called Smith Transport. How did I get there? Just really quick. I always pick on Smith, but I came here to the search center and I just typed in Smith Transport, and I happen to know that this company is a larger company, so it's interesting. And I come here to Smith Transport, the main screen, and you can see that they have 892 trucks, some 900 drivers, and so it's a pretty good example. But what I wanted to show you here, I'm getting a lot of questions about hours of service and why is my score so bad when I'm using ELDs. And so I just wanted to see if I could explain that to you. So I clicked on unsafe driving, and I know that's not ELDs yet, but what I wanted to show you here is that a lot of the scores in the basics of the SMS are nothing but comparisons. And you are being compared to everybody else in your group. And you need to know that and understand that it is nothing but a comparison. And so in this unsafe driving group for Smith Transport, they are in this safety event group of 150 plus driver inspections with unsafe driving violations. So all companies who have 150 plus driver inspections with unsafe driving violations are all grouped together and they are compared together. So with that, as you can see, I'm on the public website. We don't get to see if the company is in alert or not in alert, but they're at, the graph tells us they're at 1.87, which my experience says is a decent score, nothing to get excited about one way or the other. And of course, I'm not going to walk you through how to read this whole thing, but you can see they've had 191 unsafe driving violations, and they've had a number of inspections, or 181 driving violations. So nothing there. Let's go to the hours of service and look at that, because this is where a lot of carriers, recently I've seen carriers getting in trouble with their hours of service, and they're saying, but my God, I've got an ELD, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, when everybody else in your group also has an ELD, then all of the scores are falling. And when all of the scores are falling, if you aren't falling in the same at the same rate as everybody else, all of a sudden your score is going to get worse. So looking at this one, For Smith Transport, in the event group, they have 501 plus relevant driver inspections. So over 500 driver inspections, and they're being compared together with everybody else that has a DOT number that has more than 500 inspections. And look at, they're way down at 0.11, which I would hazard a guess to say is pretty darn good. But they still have 48 violations. For that many inspections, I got to think that's pretty darn good. They're probably leading, doing very well in that category. If we look at a smaller Smith Transport, let's just do that for 1 sec. Let me pause this. All right, I'm just going to hit Dude Smith just because the name's pretty cool. Dude Smith Trucking. And let's look at his hours of service. So Dude Smith is at 1.25. He is in a group of between 21 and 100 relevant driver inspections. This is where I find a lot of my clients are in this category because they're the smaller trucking company. What does Dude Smith here? He has 10 vehicles. So 25 vehicles, a lot of them are here. As you can see, Dude Smith's score, 1.25, is not nearly as good as Smith Transport. And he has 20 violations. Remember that Smith Transport, who has over 500 inspections, had 48 violations? Well, Dude Transport, or Dude Smith, is that the name? Dude Smith, who has under 100 inspections, has 20 violations. So comparison-wise, Dude Smith wouldn't be doing as well. The score here at 1.25 says Dude Smith is not doing as well. And everybody in this group, I suspect, are all getting better faster than Dude Smith Transport. And this is the same as a lot of the companies that I'm trying to help. And if you're listening to this, I'm trying to help you now. You need to be paying attention to this. You need to be paying attention to your comparison group and how they're doing. And while we're here, let's just take a quick look at what Dude Smith is doing, because I got a feeling that this is very similar to a lot of trucking companies of this size. So false report still happening. 3 violations there. And don't forget that I'm not revealing anything that is not on the public domain. So I don't have Dude Smith's PIN number to get in here, but this is all public information. Portable ELD not mounted. I've seen that violation frequently. Driving beyond the 14 hours is still happening. Driver's record of duty status not current, still happening. So you can see a lot of different violations there. So I just want to say that the SMS score is really important to you, your insurance company, and any government agency. So just to repeat that, your safety score, your DOT number, and the SMS is really important to you, the company, and your insurance company, as well as the DOT. Why is it so important? Well, when you get an alert, there's going to be interventions. And interventions can be things like increased inspections at the scales. Because you know that when you run over the scale, they punch your DOT number in, and either a red light, a green light, or an amber light pops up for the officer. If it is a green light, it doesn't mean that you don't get inspected. It just means that you get inspected far less than if it was a red light. Because obviously if it's a red light, you don't get inspected every time you roll across the scale. There's a lot of things there to be considered. The officer has to have the time. There has to be empty spaces behind the scale that he can do or she can do the inspection in. Also, how many inspections? We know officers, they may not call it quotas, but we know they have a quota, and maybe the officer's done his or their inspections for the day, and they don't feel like doing another one. Maybe the weather's bad, whatever. You know what I'm saying, that just because you are a red light, you don't get inspected every time you roll across the scales. However, there are red light, green light, and amber lights. So when you do have your PIN number, I just wanted to show you this. When you do have your PIN number, right in this area here on the screen, which is right below enforcement cases and around tools and resources. If you're listening to this on the audio, this is right below the list of all the basics. Your basics are those blue blocks. Try saying that 3 times real fast. Blue blocks, blue blocks, blue blocks. And on the right-hand side, right below that row of basics, you've got on the right-hand side, enforcement cases and tools and resources. In that area right there, when you have your PIN number, you'll also see your ISS, Inspection Selection System is what ISS stands for, and you'll see your score. If you're from 1 to 49, you will be a pass. If you are 50 to 74, you are an optional, and 75 to 100, you are an inspect. And of course, a pass, optional, or inspect relates to green light, amber light, red light. All right, so that's what I wanted to tell you there. National Safety Code. National Safety Code. If you're a Canadian trucking company, of course, you have a National Safety Code number. Very similar in a lot of ways to the SMS. If you're from Ontario, of course, they call it the CVOR. So Ontario companies call it CVOR. Everywhere else in Canada, pretty much, it's called the National Safety Code. If you cross border, you also have a DOT number, which means you've got to look at your SMS. When you are looking at your National Safety Code report, and I suggest if you are a company of any size, and just about any size, I mean 10 trucks or more, you need to be paying and getting your National Safety Code report every month. If you are an American listening to this, up here in Canada, the governments keep taking money, so you have to pay for the report. In Ontario, it's only $5, but you have to pay to get the report. It's not free like it is in the States. However, you need to pay for that report and make sure that you are aware of everything that is on there, because your insurance company insists on getting that report, and they insist on knowing what is on there, what drivers are on there. And when it comes to insurance renewal, if you are having any blemishes at all on your SMS or on your National Safety Code number, the insurance company is going to make you pay. So what's a blemish? Well, on the SMS, it's an alert. On the National Safety Code, it is your rating. And if your rating is conditional or worse, then you are going to have difficulty with your insurance renewal. Now, why are the insurance companies going crazy at the moment? They are going crazy because it is really interesting in the insurance market at the moment. When I recorded this video just on the CBC this morning, how the lack of insurance is a growing threat to the oil sands was an article that was there. And my point to showing you this is to say that it's not just trucking that is having insurance problems. Yep, it's not just trucking that's having insurance problems. And I say problems, it's not really a problem if you are operating a good trucking company. It becomes a problem if you have blemishes. So what's a blemish? A blemish is a conditional rating on your National Safety Code score, an alert on your SMS scores. When those safety people from the insurance company come in and they perform their audit or their review, you don't do well on that, then you have a blemish. And the insurance industry, to defend them a little bit, they're not making gobs of money. Yes, I know that's hard to believe with the outlandish rates that are currently being charged. But if you read the reports, you can see that the insurance industry is not making gobs of money at the moment. They are actually struggling. In the trucking industry, they are struggling to make a profit. And that's because claims are really outrageous. We've all heard and we've seen different articles about nuclear verdicts. And loosely defined, a nuclear verdict is defined as any verdict that the settlement is $10 million or more. So that's what is killing the trucking industry. It is my opinion that nuclear verdicts, these outlandish verdicts, and when I say outlandish, some of them are truthfully outlandish. Several years ago, there was a crash in California where it's very unfortunate. I forget all the details. The car had broken down. They had parked on the curb or on the shoulder of the highway, and a truck came along. For whatever reason, the kids got out of the car. A truck comes along, rear ends the car bursts into flames, and the children watched their parents perish in the car crash as the car burned. What is that worth? Well, I can tell you that the children were awarded a court settlement of $350 million. If you are the children who went through that pain, is that outlandish when you look at it from their point of view? I don't know what losing both of your parents is worth financially. From the trucking point of view, of course, that sounds outlandish. I really believe it depends on your point of view as to which way you are looking at it. These children lost both parents, horrific incident where they actually watched it. So what's that worth? Anyway, so the court said it was worth $350 million. I don't know, but I would imagine the children never saw $350 million because, of course, the insurance isn't paying for it and everything else. So you've got to keep your insurance company happy is the bottom line here. And we need to be doing something about these nuclear verdicts. But it doesn't even have to be a nuclear verdict. If you were a 10 to 25 truck account and you are paying your insurance premiums, you have a loss of somewhere at policy limits. Well, how many years does that insurance company have to keep you insured in order to even break even on your account? It's got to be a lot of years. So please understand that the insurance company isn't the bad people. They are out there to make a profit, just as you are, just as I am. I'm trying to make a profit. You are trying to make a profit. And yes, I know it's a struggle trying to make a profit in the trucking industry, in the safety consulting industry, in all industries. I really believe it is tough to make a profit at all times. The insurance industry is no different. They are looking at your SMS, they are looking at your national safety code, and they are trying to predict if we had a crash, if you had a crash and it's a bad one, how are the courts going to react? Think of it that way. How are the courts going to react? And if you have a blemish like a conditional rating, you know that that is going to be front and center in the court case. If you have an alert on your SMS, you know that the prosecuting attorneys are going to make you sound as if you are the worst trucking company in the world. You have no principles, you have no strengths at all, and that the jury should send a clear message to punish you. And so this is what the insurance companies are looking at. They are looking at your alerts, your safety ratings, and trying to predict what a jury would do should you have a horrific wreck. And you know that if you are doing any stuff on your safety, for instance, measuring crashes per million miles, you know that on average, we have a crash every million miles. It's somewhere around that number. So the only thing the insurance company doesn't know is how bad that crash is going to be. So you should be measuring your crashes per million miles, because I can tell you the good companies, the ones that are operating safely, are somewhere around one crash every 2 million miles. And that's what you need to aspire to. One crash every 2 million miles, or even better, one crash every 3 million miles. So if you need help, that's it. That was a bit of a rant today. We're wrapping up to 20 minutes, and I don't want to keep it any longer than that. Please make sure you are monitoring your safety scores. Make sure that you know how to read your SMS. Make sure you know how to read your National Safety Code report. If you don't know how to read it, reach out to a safety consultant. If you don't have the skills to do it, reach out to somebody who does have the skills to help you, to educate you, because the insurance company, it's not their job to educate you. It is their job to give you your insurance. That's all they are obligated to do. Should they decide to give you insurance, because of course they are under no obligation at all to give you insurance rates at an affordable rate. So make sure you know how to read your safety scores. If you don't know how to read your safety scores, reach out to somebody, anybody who knows how to read them, and let them educate you on how to read your safety scores, because they are that important. It is worth every penny that you might spend on getting that education, because it does affect your insurance rates, and it can greatly help you control your insurance rates. I almost said reduce your rates, and that we all know that's not likely to happen, but control your rates is what I'm hoping that you'll get to do. So with that, that's this week's the Dog On It Trucking Podcast. If you've got any questions about SMS, CVOR, National Safety Code, how to read it, you can reach out to me or any qualified safety consultant. There are many good ones out there. And if you're in another province other than Ontario and you want a referral, I know several safety consultants right across the country, and I may be able to give you a referral to somebody who I believe is competent in your home province. So reach out. I'd be more than happy to refer you to some of the other ones that are competent out there, because unfortunately, just like in trucking, you've got your good competitors out there that are really good, law-abiding, and know how to do things right. And then you have the other competitors. It's no different being a safety consultant. I got the good ones out there, and there are some other ones. So with that, that's it for this week. Chris Harris, the Dog On It Trucking Podcast, and I'm out of here. I hope you loved the show as much as I did. Please leave us a like, a thumbs up, a review, a comment, a rating if it is in your heart. Thank you so much. And I do really appreciate your time. And join us again next week for another exciting interview.